Good evening and welcome back to the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel. My name is Daniel and here I am today with a weather forecast update as we will see some pretty significant changes to our weather pattern across the state of Florida starting tomorrow actually. Um, and those changes will end up lasting into the weekend and into the work week next week. But before I continue on with the weather update, please hit that subscribe button below to help grow this community and grow this channel. Hit that like button, that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the weather forecast updates that I do deliver. And please comment down below. For the comment section down below, if there's anything if there's anything weather related that you would like me to address in future videos, any weather related questions, um, or future video suggestions, because I want to try to expand out of just doing weather updates and maybe going back to doing some educational videos. So if there's anything that's pressing for you, anything you want to learn more about, please comment down below and let me know, and I will try to put something together for that. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. I am recording this video at 6:30 in the evening. So without further ado, let's get into our weather forecast update for today. And we will, as always, I will start out with the water vapor loop. And boy, does the water vapor loop look a lot different than my last video. What probably stands out to you is this big monster that is in the Atlantic Ocean, folks. This big monster is none other than Hurricane Lee right here. This is a very large hurricane. It is now down to a Category 2 hurricane of 105-mile-per-hour winds. But for us in Florida, there's one very big saving grace that's very evident on satellite imagery here. And the reason why Hurricane Lee will not affect us, rather, it's actually going to be going to the north like this here, like this. Then it may start hooking back a little bit, going this way. And then it will start hooking left over into maritime Canada. Okay, so that is kind of the forecast track for Hurricane Lee right now. It will not be affecting Florida except to increase rip currents at the beaches. So anyone that's on the east coast of Florida, try to avoid going into the waters at the beaches because the rip currents will be at a high risk all week and going into Saturday until the storm gets much further north. But the reason why this hurricane will not affect us is one major factor here. One major thing on the satellite imagery here is, believe it or not, a cold front. Okay, so there is a big sprawling cold front. Let me go ahead and draw this out for you. Big sprawling cold front across the northeast United States right here, digging all the way down into the southeast United States like this. So this frontal boundary right here, that is across the southeast United States and the eastern United States, is going to be the saving grace for Florida and why it is not coming here. And you'll notice why it's not coming here either, because when you look at the flow out ahead of it here, folks, what you're going to notice is that the flow is going in this direction. Okay, notice how the flow is going in this direction across the state of Florida and up into the northern Atlantic. What this is doing is it's acting as a shield for the eastern United States from getting impacted by Hurricane Lee. So this front is coming in at the perfect time, because normally this time of the year you may have areas of high pressure that build in across the Atlantic, which may cause the storm to, instead of going northward, may head towards the United States. Okay, but this storm is going to continue going north because of this frontal system. But this frontal system is actually acting as a big change in our weather pattern. For about a week or so, we've had much drier weather, except for some freak storms a couple of nights ago in the Orlando area. Um, some scattered storms have returned over Florida here, but the wind pattern is changing. Okay. And the way we know the wind pattern is changing is because we take a look again at the flow across Florida here and notice how everything across the southeast United States is flowing in this direction. So instead, now we're going to have our moisture and our storms and everything come from west to east. Okay. And that's going to be a big factor for why the eastern part of Florida in the next several days is actually going to get more rainfall than the western part of Florida. Go figure. The MO, the common theme going for the entire year this year in Florida is that the east part of Florida gets more rain than the west part of Florida. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears from the water vapor imagery into our computer forecast models here. Here is the European model for the from this morning. Let me go ahead and I kind of want you to be able to see how the weather patterns move around. So I'm going to keep it on this view. I'll kind of translate for you the timestamps up here. This is looking at Wednesday afternoon today. There are some scattered showers and storms that you will notice across the area of the panhandle here. These are going to quickly translate out of the area in the afternoon. And then as we keep on going through here, what's going to happen is at night, this is the overnight hours. The daytime heating is gone. And we get calmer weather across the state of Florida. And then when we get to 8 o'clock tomorrow morning here, this is Thursday morning here, you're going to notice that 2 o'clock in the afternoon, moisture is starting to build. And then you're getting generally here, you're getting generally across the Florida Peninsula here. You're getting some areas here with some scattered showers, maybe an isolated storm. But it's not going to be an all-day washout. This is going to be our transition day, because then when we step into beyond Thursday into Friday, notice how what's going to start happening is we're going to start seeing a bit of a boundary starting to develop here. So you're going to notice like there's a bit of a backdoor boundary that's developing right here that's getting pushed down from the Atlantic here and into Florida. And that's going to be on the backside of Hurricane Lee. So what happens a lot of times with these hurricanes, going back to water vapor imagery right here, is when these storms head off to the north here, when these storms, not that way, not what I wanted there. When these storms head off to the north like this, what ends up happening is on the backside of it, you start getting some boundaries, some storm systems that can start flowing in this direction. Because remember, winds go counterclockwise around a hurricane. Okay, so that's what's going to happen is as this storm moves north, we're going to start seeing some moisture from the Atlantic increase by 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. What we are looking at here is we are looking at a buildup of moisture across northern Florida here on Friday afternoon around 2 o'clock. And then as I go ahead and we step it through time here for Friday afternoon, that focus shifts down the peninsula here. So instead, that focus now shifts down in the peninsula here, where numerous showers and scattered thunderstorms will develop across the Florida Peninsula. That is for Friday. Now going into Saturday, this is the overnight hours into the morning. Notice moisture is already picking up off the coast on Saturday. That's kind of how you know it's going to be a wet day. And bada boom, there it is. 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday across southern Florida here. Numerous showers and thunderstorms There's an 80% chance of rain for southern Florida this weekend, creeping into the central part of the state here. You probably are going to get some scattered storms in the Florida Panhandle here, ladies and gentlemen, but not as numerous as in southern Florida. Okay, so let's keep on stepping it through time here. That Saturday afternoon. Okay, let me stop there. And then when we get into Sunday afternoon, there we go again. We have a repeat here. More numerous scattered showers and thunderstorms in the southern half of Florida, where we are going to see the most amount of activity in the next 5 to 7 days here. Still can't count out scattered showers and thunderstorms across the northern part of the state, but it's going to be less than the southern part of the state, the southern half of the state here. Okay, and then we step it through time again. We're going to go into Monday of next week here. Monday, we get more showers and thunderstorms, this time in the center part of the state. So the bottom line is we're going to see a pattern change here. And again, the reason why we're going to see a pattern change is because of, number one, we are starting to see this flow coming from east to west. I mean, from west to east across the Gulf of Mexico. And what Hurricane Lee is going to do is this boundary right here. Okay, so this boundary that we got going on across the southeast, that will slowly sag southward. And when you combine the two, you're going to see a concentration of your rainfall across the eastern part of Florida here, right here. And most of it is going to be concentrated in this region right here, because of where that flow from the Gulf meets that boundary, that frontal boundary. It's going to cause for an increase in rain. And it's best summarized with this forecast rainfall right here. Notice again, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at more rainfall across the eastern part of the state of Florida than the western part of Florida. That's not to say the western part of Florida and the Panhandle is not going to get rain. They're going to get their isolated, maybe scattered storms here or there. But most of the rainfall, again, is going to be concentrated on the eastern half of Florida, where you see Jacksonville over here. You got Jacksonville with 2.5 inches of rain over 7 days. Daytona 2.5. Orlando 2.5, Palm Bay 2.5, 2 inches widespread across the Palm Beach area, and even inland near Lake Okeechobee, we could see 3 to 5 inches of rain at times here. So we're going to see increased rainfall across the Florida Peninsula over the next several days. Temperatures are going to come down a little bit with that rainfall. The high temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 80s across much of the eastern part of Florida here. But the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, when we go ahead and we take a look at what is going to happen in the next several days, we're going to see an increase in rainfall. The pattern is going to change, and we can expect more scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms, especially across the eastern part of the Florida Peninsula starting on Friday. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video was informative, helpful to you. Remember, we have no threat from Hurricane Lee. Hurricane Lee will only be an issue at the beaches with heightened rip currents. Expect rainfall to be on the increase across much of the Florida Peninsula, especially eastern areas, starting on Friday and lasting into next week. And also, the temperatures may come down slightly because of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, the end of the week. We are very close to the weekend at this point. Yay, weekend. Although, for those of you on the east part of Florida, especially southeast Florida, I just have some plans indoors as a backup just in case. But as I always do with all my weather videos, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close with a quote from my late, great cross-country coach, Jim Richardson, when he says, "There'll be weather, whether or not. But whatever the weather will be, I'll be here keeping you ahead of the storm." Have a wonderful Wednesday night. Thank you very much for joining. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and comment down below. And please share this out with more folks. I want to grow this community, please. So have a great, wonderful night, and thank you very much for being here.